morning, Huntsville. Welcome in. Wednesday is here. Wednesday, however you want to say it. We are live here on Good Morning Huntsville. Thanks for joining us. And as you chime in already this morning, let us know what you're thankful for. Every single morning, we want you to wake up with that attitude of gratitude. So much to be thankful for here in our community. And it is always our joy, honor, and privilege to bring you this show every single weekday. And on Wednesday, I like just saying Wednesday. It just sounds good. We'll get into that a little bit more. We always do. I'm joined by my good friends this morning and our good friends here in Huntsville, Mr. Rick and Kay Boning of Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools. Hey, they take care of children here in this community. I almost said kids. And last night, Bridget and I were talking about it. She said, do not mention kids because Kay will correct you. So children in our community, such a blessing. Good to see you. How you guys doing?
Doing great.
I'm doing wonderful. I always do wonderful whenever I see you, Rob.
You know, we have so much fun. We're going to start a new VIP section here on the show where for a very nominal fee, you actually get a behind-the-scenes look in between the breaks and before we go live. I don't know if anybody would subscribe to that.
I would.
We have too much fun. We were talking about just meditation for some reason. It popped into my head. And before we came on, I don't even know why this started. I was making these low, like, grumbling noises, like, and I told Rick, I said, Rick, try that. I said, it kind of like, you know, it massages your neck and your ears a little bit, you know. Give it a try, Rick, real quick.
Oh, go ahead.
Can you do it live?
I can't.
See, it's just, so if you're waking up, we're getting started on a good foot here this morning. So give that a try right now. If you're out there watching.
Everybody out there does that.
Oh, look, he's turned a new shade of red.
Yeah, it's a beautiful shade of red.
Thank you. It matches my eyes.
Yeah, it's a beautiful shade of red. Just try. Just breathe in, you know, really deep, and then just, hello, good morning. And it's just like a clearing of the whatever. You know, Robert's doing it right now. He's joining us. Robert Lindemann at HITTSS Solutions is going to be joining us here. He may walk out the door, actually, before we get started with our goofiness here. But, again, welcome in. A lot of fun this morning as we're already getting started here on a Wednesday. We are broadcasting live from our studio in beautiful downtown Huntsville. Studio is always made possible by our good friends at Elliott's Jewelers, online at elliottjewelers.com. Elliott has been so gracious to this community, to us, and we're so thankful for him. In fact, he has a lot of gift bags that we're going to be giving away some things here coming up pretty soon. Inside of those bags, there is jewelry that is retailed at $100 a piece. And so we're going to be giving some of that away. We are now organizing our summer Rays of Hope fundraiser. Our good friends at HEB have said, yes, you can use our facility over there. So we're going to have that parking lot set up the last Saturday of July. So go ahead and mark your calendars. We're looking for some volunteers. Sam Houston Women's Basketball said, hey, we'll help however we can. And so we're looking forward to their help. And if you'd like to get involved in the community, you know, so much is given during Christmas, but we realize there's a need also during the summer months. And I know this year we're starting it at the end of summer just to kind of get the ball rolling. You know, we came in hot here in Huntsville, and so next year we'll start it a little bit sooner. But we're getting that going. Going to be exciting.
It is exciting. Speaking of gifts, we brought you one.
Man, what is this?
Well, we had a discussion about this at one point.
Okay. This is this is a gift here on Good Morning Huntsville.
Yeah, well, it's Christmas wrap, too. So.
I love this.
So wait, does he have to wait till July to open it since it's Christmas in July?
I don't think so.
All right.
I thought you would kind of do it on air.
Should I open this right now?
I think you should. It's not, it's nothing inappropriate.
It feels like a baseball bat in here with lead in it. So, man,
kind of a short
this would fit in with Robert Lindemann today of HITTSS Solutions Player Development. You know, sometimes you need lead in the bat to, to get things going. So, here, Robert's like, no, you don't. All right, I'm opening this here. Here we go. This is live, by the way. As we open, you can hear the unwrapping for those on the audio only version.
Well, that was wrapped courtesy of Emma.
Thank you, Emma. That's y'all's granddaughter here, so we appreciate Emma. Future intern here at Hello Huntsville, by the way. Just for the old school radio, you ever listen to the old radio programs on Sirius XM? You know, back in the day, they had the studio set up, and they'd make all the sounds on the mic because you had to visualize. There was no TV. Right. So here's the visualization right now for those of you listening to the audio of this present being opened. All right, here we go. Is this really?
That's really what that is.
Is this really?
And it came in the mail like that. I have to apologize.
Are you serious? Is this really an air-operated horn for trucks?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Remember we were talking about the air horn?
Yes. You had no idea the other day. Look, I'm going to tell you, man, how can you tie in God to something like that? I'm going to tell you this is a God thing because I was looking up air horns on YouTube the other day. I said, man, that'd be fun to have one of those on my truck.
Well, we were talking about the prison horn.
Yes.
And this way
Cat
you can
player.
blow your own horn.
Oh, this is awesome, guys. Check this out. I can toot my own horn now. This is great. Rick, thank you so much.
This is a K thing, too. What do you
Man,
think?
look at this bad boy.
All that chrome on there.
Man, look at this chrome gold-plated air horn for your Ford F-150. Courtesy of Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools and Amazon.com. Man, this thing is awesome. I'm going to put this on the truck.
Really?
I'm going to mount it on top of the roof of the truck.
I have a problem drilling into the truck.
Yeah, I won't do that. I'll put some of that 3M adhesive. 3M's really good, man. It's those Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing. That's what it stands for.
I didn't know that.
Did you know that?
No.
The 3M stands for Minnesota Mining and Manufacturing. And how do you get tape out of that? I don't know, but they did. And by golly, we're going to have an air horn on that truck coming up here. Thank y'all so much, man. This is awesome. This is why I love Rick and Kay. You never know what you're going to get. It's like a box of chocolates in here every single morning. So, hey,
You can clear count it on all on your own.
that's right. We're going to leave the horn right here for those of you watching, right there on the table today. And, man, that is so much fun. And I want to make sure, we do have audio, by the way, so that's great. That would have been terrible to miss 8 minutes of that. Anyways, Tomorrow's Promise joining us here every single Wednesday. We have a lot of fun on this show. This show is all about, I know we have fun, but it's all about highlighting our community. Yesterday was a great show. I had my good friend Melton Green on yesterday. And, someone had reached out and said, I was so inspired by Melton's story that I wanted to give him an opportunity, to help us possibly. And so some great things have came out of that. I heard from our friends at Carolina Creek and just really excited about what God has in store for not just Carolina Creek, but for Melton, a tremendous young man. And that's what this show's about. Maybe you're watching this morning saying, I know of someone in the community that'd like to be on the show. We highlight a lot of nonprofits, but we also bring in community people as well. And so if you know of someone in the community that's involved that you said, I think they should be on the show, or if you have a story to tell, maybe some history of Huntsville, we'd love to have that here on Good Morning Huntsville. Everything is all about this community and lifting each other up, just like Melton coming in yesterday. And then our good friend Robert Lindemann is going to share some things with us here today. So that's what we do here on Good Morning Huntsville. We have fun, but we also highlight the positives on what's going on around our beautiful community. I was driving in this morning, and I was thinking a lot about that, in ways that we can make a difference. And Kay, you and I were talking, as we came on, and about alarm clocks. I wake up at 4:30 every morning, and then I hit the snooze, and my alarm though is set for 5:15. But there's this, and I'm starting to believe that maybe I should start just getting up at 4:30. And I feel like sometimes if you keep hitting that snooze button, that you just get more tired. Do you ever feel like that?
Yeah, that's why I don't hit the snooze button.
What time do you normally get up at? Around 6, 5:30, 6?
I usually wake up sometimes around 5 and start reading the news.
Is that when the snoring is the heaviest from Rick, or?
I don't know, but yeah, my alarm's set for 5:30, but somewhere between 4 and 5 is usually when I start waking up.
Okay, perfect. Well, it's one of those things for me, and I really do. I think this morning, maybe this was like an epiphany this morning to say, hey, you know what? If I'm waking up at 4:30 maybe it's time just to start getting up and getting out. The only thing is I don't want to disturb Bridget. And this week, the plan was my nieces are in town and love having them there. The plan was this week to, our niece, Brianna, is staying in Braylon's room. And so the plan was we always put Braylon down with us, and then we take her. And that's a bad habit. We're trying to break out of it, especially with the new baby coming here in a month. But we always take our baby, we take Braylon, and we transfer her into her room, into her crib. Well, Brianna's staying in that room, not in the crib. She wouldn't fit. There's a bed in there. And we just decided, you know what? Nieces are in town. Let's just let them relax and be able to sleep. And so Braylon's been sleeping with us this week, and I don't want her to get in the habit of it. But it's so crazy because these little kids are like magnets. They stick to you. I just what is this on my back? And I look, and it's Braylon. And then Bridget wakes up. I'm like, what is this on my... She had her head buried up under her knees. I was like, how do these kids get into these weird sleeping positions? So...
We have a dog that does it.
Well, we've had children do that too.
Yeah.
I am looking forward to this. I remember when I was a kid. And again, if you're out there this morning, chime in, let us know you're there. Our good friend Tony Killingsworth joining us this morning. Good to hear from you this morning, Tony. Appreciate you joining us. I'm trying to think where I was going with this. Oh, I always had a thought when I was growing up. I said, one day when I'm a daddy, how cool it's going to be to I remember as a kid when there was thunderstorms when I was a child, there was thunderstorms. I was probably a kid. I mean, I was a goat, let's be honest. I remember when there was thunderstorms, and my brother and I would just rush into my sister was already grown up and a little bit older, so she's like, she's not going to go rush to mommy and daddy when there's a thunderstorm. Well, my brother and I remember one night specifically, really bad thunderstorm, and we both woke up and darted to our parents' room and jumped into bed with them. And that day I thought, for some reason, I said, and I was a young kid, and I thought about this. I said, this is going to be cool when I'm a daddy one day, and my kids do this to me. So I am actually looking forward to the day, now that Caden's on the way, also, that our 2 kids are just going to jump up and hop into bed with us when a thunderstorm comes through. It's kind of a cool feeling to know your kids are there and they love you. So
Yeah. Well, I always knew my kids loved me, but I don't think were they afraid of storms?
Jeremy was.
That's true. Jeremy would come. If you're out there, Jeremy, sorry.
Yeah, sorry,
we're ratting
Jeremy.
you out, buddy.
We're ratting you out this morning. The other thing, I mean, I was thinking about that the other day. We were driving, and I mentioned on the show a couple of weeks ago when we had that storm that came through. National Weather Service did a survey. It was not a tornado; it was straight line winds that came through here in Huntsville. I know a lot of folks say tornado. I mean, it was as destructive as a small like EF0 tornado because we saw trees go down, but it was just straight line winds. Well, those same straight line winds hit us right outside of Panorama Village. And I'm going to tell you, I don't know how Bridget even said, how were you not like flipping out or scared? I said, well, because I had to protect y'all. But internally, man, I was scared.
Yeah.
I started praying out loud. There's times in your life where you need to pray out loud. And you don't have to be embarrassed by that. Around your family, your friends, whatever's going on. I mean, it's okay to pray out loud. Mm-hmm. And I'm in the car, and I just started praying. I said, Jesus, protect us. Because literally, we were over at Smoky Mo's Barbecue, and we get this alert on our phone, kind of like an Amber Alert. Mm-hmm. And it said weather emergency, tornado warning in your area now, just out of nowhere. I mean, it was unbelievable. And I look on the radar, and they call it a soaring eagle. This was just my old weather nerd days when I thought I was going to be a meteorologist. When you look at a radar image, and it looks like there's wings up to the top right, and then you've got like a red dot with what they call a hook echo. Mm-hmm. That hook echo is usually where the rotation is in the thunderstorm. And then the wings coming off of it, that's called a soaring eagle. And when you look at it on a radar, that is a definitive signature for a tornado. I mean, one of the most definitive signatures you can see on a radar image. And so I was like, oh my God, we got a soaring eagle, like about to fly right over us. So we get on 45, start driving, and I told Brad, I was like, we got to get off the highway. And we pull into that shopping center, and then it was just like all heck broke loose. And I started hearing things hit the car, and it sounded like hail. And it wasn't hail. It was tree limbs and branches just flying around hitting our car. And I thought, man, and I look over and I see those tall trees, the tall pines. I've never seen a pine tree in this area go half bent. I mean, those things were bent. I'm surprised a ton of them didn't break where we were at. J.C. Penney sign flew off in front of us. And we ended up, pulling into a church parking lot and waited there. But I was praying. And that was being a dad, that was the most scared I've ever been in my life for my family, because those thoughts start going through your mind. Man, what if our car flips over and I've got Bridget in the car and she's pregnant and I've got and Braylon slept through the whole thing. That's why I brought this up. I don't know how she slept through it all. But you think about those things, Kay. You're as a mother and Rick as a father. There's situations. If you come across a situation like that, how do you guys handle it?
I've never been in that situation personally. I mean,
but let's just say a dangerous situation. What would be the first reaction you would have?
Was it a weather situation?
Any situation.
Well, I do have a CHL, so usually the first thing I do is get my sidearm.
There you go.
She was in our living room the other day and thought she heard something upstairs, so I had to go upstairs and check it out. Yeah. We were the only ones home. So I took my sidearm upstairs and checked it out for her.
I've had a moment, and we'll bring Robert on here in just a little moment. He's patiently waiting, and appreciate everybody joining us here this morning on Good Morning Huntsville. I had a moment one time. Bridget's cousin was living with us for about 6 months or so, and I heard something hit the roof. I mean, I thought something was outside. I heard the boom, and it sounded like somebody was firing a gun or something. And so Jack he had his license to carry, and I mean, he immediately went in his drawer, grabbed his pistol, and ran outside. I'm sitting here shaking, Bridget, no, I promise I'm tough, but I'm learning, especially now that I have a family. But Jack runs out there, and it was a big tree branch, this huge tree trunk that fell on our roof. It actually put a hole in the roof.
Oh my!
Just an old tree fell apart. So that's the wisdom today. I'm not taking away from Kay's wisdom, but the wisdom is if you're an old trunk, sometimes you fall down and you put holes in things, but it's okay.
Well, and you asked what we do. For example, at the school, we have procedures in place for emergencies. And we are on speed dial with the police department and several of the EMS in different places that if there's something going on in town, they call us immediately and tell us lock down. And we've got procedures, and we lock the place down and bring all the kids in and lock the doors and don't let anybody in.
Yeah, it's good to go through that. We'll talk about some of that on the back end of the show after we talk with Robert on Kay's Wednesday Wisdom that's coming up here on the show. But, hey, let us know you're out there again. We'd love to hear from you this morning. A lot of folks already chiming in. Rachel Drake, good morning to you. Our good friend Melton Green, who was on yesterday. Melton, good to hear from you this morning. Let us know you're out there. Let us know what you're thankful for today. As we'll step aside, we'll take a break. Also, before we do, make sure to hit that comment button. Just type or comment button. There's no comment button. Make sure to hit the like button, the share button on this broadcast, and also put a comment there, a little pound hashtag, and put Good Morning Huntsville, visit Huntsville. You'll automatically be entered to win our contest at the end of this week. It's a mystery contest this week, and so you'll have to continue to chime in all week. But any of those entries you put in during the week, you'll automatically be entered to win on Friday, as we'll have a little special mystery gift that we're giving away on Friday.
So you haven't figured out what you're giving away yet, huh?
We know.
Oh, okay.
Is there a horn involved?
No. Well, that's what I like to do is re-gift items. So I've got a pen here and horn, maybe a helmet, a Elliot's Jewelers mug. Just kidding. But we do have some prizes we'll be giving away on Friday, so make sure to do that. We'll step aside. We'll take a break. Robert Lindemann joins us on the other side when we come back. This is Good Morning Huntsville. Hey, good morning, Huntsville. Welcome back in here on another edition, episode 42 of Good Morning Huntsville, as we're joined on a Wednesday by our good friends at Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools. We'll talk more with Kay Boning and Rick here in a little bit about what's going on at Tomorrow's Promise, the new construction updates, a lot of great things happening, and an opportunity for your children here in this community to be blessed by a great organization. I'll talk about the first book that came in, by the way, yesterday in the mail for Braylon. So
great.
We'll mention that here in a little bit as well. But keeping them patiently waiting, appreciate my good friend, Mr. Robert Lindemann. Robert, good to see you. What's going on, man?
It's all good.
It's good to have you on the show. You and I have recorded some radio commercials back in the day, and appreciate your generous support. I wanted to mention Robert, by the way, supported our new Waverly coverage this year for softball and baseball. That just kind of came out of nowhere, and appreciate the coaches there, Coach Morphew with baseball and Coach Dixon with softball. And we needed some help to make that possible because the UIL likes to charge fees. And you know what? We'll graciously pay them. And Robert Lindemann said, I'll help out with that. So, Robert, we appreciate your support.
Sure.
You've always been involved, too, with kids, man. And I kind of wanted to get, before we dig into all that, and you're with HITTSS Solutions, that's your business, 3 parts to that business, but just kind of give us a backstory. You've been in Huntsville here for a while, grew up we're living in a Bartlett area, I believe, and just tell us the story. How did you get to Huntsville, Texas, man?
Well, it's a long journey.
Well, let's hear it. We'll be all right.
Well, I grew up in Bartlett, Texas, which is at the back door of where you came from, Rob, Georgetown. I'm the youngest of 7 children.
Did you ever say kids before?
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
I was going to say kids before today.
She said that means they're goats. It's like that's what baby goats are, so we have to say children.
Children, yes. My mom was a school teacher. My dad was a welder. He coached Little League for 25 years, even when he didn't have kids playing. I went into banking right out of college, did that for 15 years, then went into the school business as a business manager for 24 years, had the opportunity to coach baseball and cross country. Came to Huntsville in 2015 as the Chief Financial Officer at Region 6 Education Service Center.
ESC, we were joking earlier, so that's the East Side Club.
Yeah, HITTSS.
I don't even know where that came from, but anyways, Robert.
You grew up on the east side of Georgetown,
I did,
didn't you?
yeah.
Okay.
Northeast side, East Side Club. Anyway, sorry, I cut you off.
That's all right. That's all right. That's how we roll. So, here I am in Huntsville.
It's a great journey, you know. When I first came here, Robert, I got to know some folks pretty quickly. And that's for anybody. I mean, if you come to this community, whenever you first got here, just people embrace you. You know, what have you enjoyed most about just the journey of being here and the things that you've learned over the years?
The people here are amazing. Very friendly, very welcoming, just helpful. Just great people here in Huntsville.
There are, and Robert, you're one of those guys. You know, and I think of nice guys, and I mean this in a very positive way. I mean, you're a nice guy. You help out people. You're always wanting to engage. And anytime there's a need, I mean, you even came and helped me move a couple of times. You don't know how much that meant to me and to our family.
Are you finally settled down?
Fine. I still got some boxes in the garage, but we're getting there. But again, Robert Lindemann joining us this morning of HITTSS Solutions, and we'll talk more about that business here in just a few moments, but. You know, another thing that you're also very passionate about, and you have the shirt on this morning, is the Fellowship of Christian Athletes. He's wearing the Bearcat orange shirt with the FCA logo. Just how did you get involved? You know, we had Angela Valish here on the show a while back, and she talked a lot about FCA. But from you, how did you get involved, and kind of what's your role with FCA, Robert?
I got involved with FCA when I was coaching back in high school and saw the transformation that it did with the kids and the coaches and the parents and building stronger relationships with the teams and the players, and knew that it was important for kids to develop that relationship with Jesus Christ. And I got away from it when I sold out for money and went into administration with the education, and did a prison ministry before COVID. And when I was talking to in Cuero, not here, I know there's a lot of prisons here, but my friend asked me to help out in Cuero, and did that.
Gobblers.
Cuero Gobblers. And it was the Stevenson unit. And talking to the prisoners there, they said that they felt that if they would have had a relationship with Jesus Christ prior to going into prison, that maybe they would not have gone into prison, did some of the things that they did. So the light bulb went on, turned on. Oh, you said light bulb went off. Light bulb turned on. I said, I need to not do the prison ministry. I need to reach the kids before they get there. And so I wanted to get involved with FCA here, but didn't know. And this is a God thing. I saw where Ken Holland was running for school board, and one of the things he mentioned was that he was on the FCA board here. And I said, "Oh, FCA, that's how I got to find Ken, and get involved with the FCA," because I didn't know how else to do it. So we were at a chamber gala, and I was introduced to Ken, and told him, "Hey, I want to get involved in FCA," and he said, "Well, I'll get Matt Johnson to call you." Well, a year later, I'm walking through Home Depot, and some guy says, "Hey, I'm supposed to talk to you." What? And he said, "Are you Robert Lindemann?" And I said, "Well, yes." And he said, "Well, I'm Matt Johnson. I need to talk to you about FCA." So that's how I got involved here in Huntsville with it. I've been involved since 2020 full-time. That's when I retired from Region 6. I took an early retirement, and some people say, "You're crazy taking an early retirement." But when God calls you to do something, you do it. And he hasn't failed yet financially on making up that difference in the income. So I can talk about FCA all day. Ask a question, Rob.
No, it's good, Robert. And I love when you talk, because I see the passion. You know, you and I really got to know each other in our Tuesday Leads group there for the Chamber Preferred Partners, and that's been a fun journey, and just being involved in that. And that's really where you and I, because I like to kind of move around, but I always find myself sitting next to you, and we always chat and have a good time and catching up. And it's great to see your passion, because when folks are so passionate about something, it comes through. And the way that you carry yourself and how excited you are about FCA, it truly is a passion of yours to help these kids. And it's been fun to see that journey, Robert. As you've kind of continued through that, what is your role with FCA, and just really how have you really dived into that over the past few years?
My official title is FCA Ambassador. I'm just a representative for FCA and help them in any capacity they can.
One of the things that I mentioned it too, and I feel like there needs to be a presence in these schools. There really does. And I know people say, "Oh, the separation of church and state, or church and school, or whatever." But you know what? At the end of the day, these kids, if they're allowed organizations on campus, why can't they be allowed an organization like FCA? And they do. And that's the good thing about FCA, because FCA has such a high reputation for doing good. and not being too pushy, but doing good and being student led, which is important. And I believe it's one of the last Christian organizations that you see in the public school system. You don't see a lot of organizations anymore because they've been told, hey, you can't be here anymore. FCA has that reputation, though, being involved with kids and student-led, and that's what allows it to be a part of the school system still.
Right. As long as it's student-led, then it's legal. And I want to give a shout-out to Paul Trevino at the high school. Without him, we would not have a huddle at the high school, and Coach Southern as well. They've been great in opening the doors for us and giving us the time to spend with the kids.
I did want to give you an opportunity to talk more about that because, I know that you guys were trying to work on getting some huddles here in the community, and then I was gone and came back and heard that those huddles are happening now. Tell us a little bit more, Robert, just about the huddles and how they work.
Well, at the high school, Mr. Trevino worked his schedule into where we can come in at lunch, and a huddle is basically a little Bible study. We tied it in with their character counts. Each month they had a theme, and we tied the Bible study into whatever the high school theme was for that month. We didn't do it. I want to say it was student-led because we have a great group of students that picked up on the Bible and picked up the theme and did the Bible study, and it's all student-led. It's great to see that.
Yeah, it's great. Kay, you've known Robert for a while, too.
Oh, yeah. So what's the youngest age that you can go into school and start working with them?
Junior high, the 7th grade. We're at Mance Park. We got smart. We started growing FCA, so we went to Mance Park and started in the 7th and 8th grade, and then they graduated and came over to the high school, and so it's growing at the high school now.
That's really awesome. Again, Robert Lindemann joining us this morning. He is involved with FCA, but also the owner of HITTSS Solutions. We'll dive into HITTSS Solutions here in just a few moments. I wanted to stay on FCA just for a few more moments. You mentioned, getting that huddle going at Mance Park. What's that like, seeing 7th and 8th graders be involved and just learning? I mean, they learn leadership skills through this as well because you have to lead the group.
Right. Public speaking is the biggest one. And it's tough to get out in front of public and talk to them. So when you see a 7th and 8th grade student get up in front of their peers, it's amazing to see. But they know that God's leading them, and they take off and do it.
Yeah, it's great, Robert. Well, man, the impact that you've had, not just on me, but so many in this community, and especially our youth, I think that is the most important thing is talking about our kids, because the children are the next generation.
Yeah.
Kay was tapping me. I thought that meant, but she was going to say something.
So do you have to be an athlete in order to be an FCA?
No, that's a good point, Kay. I'm glad you brought that up. The organization is FCA, Fellowship of Christian Athletes, but we welcome all students. Whatever organization they're with or not with. If they want to come join us, that's great. And we have some youth pastors in the area, Kyle Fisher at Second Baptist and Travis Lee at Northside, that come alongside us and join us. Our goal is to help the kids develop a relationship with Jesus Christ, but then we want to get them plugged into a church. And these youth ministers help with that.
Something else that I wanted to mention, too, I so appreciate the gracious invite a few weeks ago. I believe there's a coach's breakfast now. Is that led by FCA, or is that just something, where I went over to Second Baptist there at the Fellowship Hall? We had a breakfast one morning. Is that kind of an FCA organized event or just for coaches in the area?
It's an FCA organized event. Coach Jeff Norris, who's on our staff from Alpha Omega, has organized that, and he wants to develop that ministry with our local coaches because, you reach the coaches and the coaches will reach the students.
It's a really cool breakfast because I was able to be a part of that.
Yeah.
Are those taking place monthly now?
Yeah, monthly.
So maybe there's a coach out there this morning that says, I'd like to get involved with other coaches. I think it was cool because we saw guys from Sam Houston. There were some coaches there from Sam Houston football. It was great to see them there. Parker was there, Parker Whiteman. Good to see Parker. And Coach Southern was there. And so you have a whole mix. Alpha Omega Academy was there. So maybe you're a coach this morning saying, I'd like to get around other coaches and just kind of lift each other up. And this is a great way to do that. Do you have the detail? I know I didn't, let you know this beforehand, but the details of kind of when those happen or how folks can get involved?
I don't have the details of when the next one is. It's coming up soon. I can get it to you, and you can pass it out.
Yeah, we'll do that. So
Yeah.
just stay connected here on Hello Huntsville, and we'll provide updates on when those breakfasts are, because I'd love to continue to go to those and just to be around those guys. You had asked me to speak, and they're from 6 to 7. And, man, I spoke real quick, and then I raced over here to do the show that morning, but it was still a lot of fun. Well, Robert, let's take a break, and we'll step back, we'll regroup, because when we come back, I want to talk about HITTSS Solutions. Is there anything else on the FCA side that we missed that you wanted to make sure we highlight?
Yes, FCA Sports Camp is the last part of June and goes to July 2nd to Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's at Texas A&M. It's where the kids will get some fellowship with Jesus Christ, of course, but also they can learn a specific sport, whatever sport they're interested in, football, baseball, volleyball. So it's kind of a double win.
And where can folks get more information about the camp that's coming up?
pwwfca.org.
pwwfca.org. It's Piney Woods West.
There you go.
FCA.org. You can find out more information. Before we do take this break and dig more into the other side of the interview this morning, Rick, who always steps aside, he had a good question this morning. He said, "How can I help, or how can I get involved with FCA?" That's a really good question, Rick. For you, yeah. How can folks get involved?
Go to pwwfca.org and look at our website, and there's a lot of suggestions on there if they want to volunteer to help, or if they want to donate. It takes a lot of money to, you know how much kids eat? A lot of pizza and donuts. We get the kids to come to the huddle with food. We say, come for pizza and stay for Jesus.
Love that.
So it takes a lot of money because kids eat a lot.
And you said it was pwwfca.org?
Yes.
All right, we'll try to get that up there on the website here, or up on the stream. So, again, you can visit that website online. Again, I popped it up on the screen there,
right.
pwwfca.org
right.
for more information. Let's step aside, take a break. When we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about HITTSS Solutions and how you got this business started. 3 different aspects of HITTSS Solutions that we'll talk about here when we come back. Stay with us. We've got more coming here. This is Good Morning Huntsville. We'll be right back after this. Hey, friends, welcome back at it here on a Wednesday edition of Good Morning Huntsville. As always, we are broadcasting from our studio in downtown, beautiful Huntsville, Texas. Our studio is presented by Elliott's Jewelers. For more information, for custom jewelry, maybe you've got that idea in your head saying, I want a ring to look like this. Well, guess who can do it? My friend Elliott Herzlich. He can make those dreams come to life for you or your loved one. Does a great job. I've showed it on the show a couple times. I said, hey, I want a masculine ring, kind of some hammered gold, and I wanted to put a little stud in there in honor of Bridget, and he did it very quickly. I mean, I got this thing back in about a week or two, and now I've got to add 2 more, one for Braylon and one for Caden. Bridget was joking around and said, well, that thing's going to be filled up here in the next 5 years or so, because each little stud would represent a kiddo, and a child.
Yes.
And we'll see how that goes. By the way, the website for FCA Piney, it's fcapww.org. So put that up there. fcapww.org is the website for more information about the FCA. Kay, good to have you on as well, as Kay and Rick Boning is our Wednesday Foundation 5 sponsors. We wouldn't be able to bring you this show and have great guests like Robert Lindemann on here if it wasn't for our sponsors, such as Tomorrow's Promise at Montessori Schools. Appreciate your generous support and all you do, Kay. Seems like you and Rick are just active all over town.
Well, I want to mention how important FCA is to me.
Sure.
Because I was 14 years old and went to an FCA basketball camp in Baylor.
Really?
And that is where I accepted Jesus.
All right.
There we go. Love that.
Right. Testimony right here on
There
the
it
show.
is, right there, live as it happened. Bridget,
All
by the way,
right.
Bridget was joking around, by the way, earlier, and she sent me a message, and she said, LOL, say children or child, not kids. She was reminding me, Kay, don't talk about baby goats, talk about little baby humans.
Well,
children.
and just a reminder for those that didn't catch that episode, but in Montessori, we teach what a child is the offspring of a human, and a kid is the offspring of a baby goat. So it's disrespectful to call them kids.
It
But,
is.
I mean,
Right.
that's our society calls everybody kids. So
It is. I think it's a word that, I've heard a lot of coaches. I always, the coach that comes to mind was my great coach at Georgetown, and he always said kids. He's like, these kids are good kids. And he's a great coach, love him. But I just couldn't imagine him saying children, though. It would just sound weird for him to say
Yeah.
that. Is there okay for some people to say that then? Is that all right, Kay?
I'm not sure I'll give you the exception, but
Well, again, Robert Lindemann is joining us here this morning. He is our guest. Let us know you're out there before we chat with Robert a little bit more. Let us know that you're out there this morning. Caitlin had sent in a message. She's entered to win the contest, by the way, with that hashtag Hello Huntsville. Caitlin, good to hear from you this morning. We'll be giving away prizes coming up on Friday, and so all you got to do is enter to win all week long. Hashtag Hello Huntsville. Put the comment, like the broadcast, and share it as well. Also, Tony Killingsworth chiming in saying, good morning. So good to hear from you. Many others also on the Huntsville, Texas News and Events group. And we can't see those comments through our interface here, actually. That's why I look at my phone sometimes, because I got to go down and see who's joining us through that group. There's over 9,000 members in that group now. And so we go live in the Huntsville, Texas News and Events group every single morning on Monday through Friday. Robert Lindemann, HITTSS Solutions, here in the house with us in our studio, sponsored by Elliot's Jewelers. Wanted to give you an opportunity to talk about HITTSS Solutions. It's a company. You've got 3 divisions to your company. One is real estate, player development, and then some school business consulting. Let's start. I know the passion is for kids, for children. Gosh, this is never going to end. The passion is for children. Let's save that for the end.
Yes.
Because I know that's what you're most passionate about. We'll save the best for last. But let us know about HITTSS Solutions. What inspired you to start the business? Because the business name has a great meaning as well. So let us know about that journey and how you started HITTSS Solutions.
Well, being a business person, I knew that the income tax laws were made for business owners and entrepreneurs. And so I knew that when I got out of the school business that I was going to start my own business somewhere. So over a period of time, I came up with the name HITTSS, mainly because I was a baseball coach and loved baseball and passionate about baseball. My dad taught me how to love the game. It's a game within a game. So HITTSS, HITTSS, helping instruct the stars to shine. We're all born stars. God did not create any junk.
I love that.
Sometimes we dim ourselves by letting the world influence us. So I figured that my job is to teach them, instruct them, inspire them, all of us, to shine. So HITTSS Solutions, helping instruct the stars to shine. Each of us are stars. We need help shining.
Again, it's Robert Lindemann this morning. Again, it's just who you are. It's who you are, Robert. And your love for people, your love just for being involved is so important. The real estate side of things. So you have a real estate division.
Yes.
We bring you home. I love that. That's kind of the motto. We bring you home at HITTSS Solutions. Tell us about the real estate division. How did you get the idea for doing the real estate?
I was always intrigued with real estate and all the different aspects of it. I was working at a bank, and the banker there encouraged me to get my real estate license. I guess I didn't have a choice since he was my boss. And so I became an agent for him. And then he encouraged me to become a broker. He said, I'm not going to be able to continue. You need to get your broker's license. So thank God for Mr. Hager, George Hager from Granger, Texas, encouraged me to do that. I got into the business really to help people. Zig Ziglar said that if you help enough people get what they want, you're going to get what you want. And so with real estate, I just want to help people get what they want, and the money will come eventually. It's really not about the money, it's about helping people.
yeah, I love Zig Ziglar.
Yes, yes.
I think it's cool that you mentioned Granger, Texas. So it's a small community. And I can just hear this man talking to you because I know that community. It's outside the Austin area, about an hour or so. I mean, if you're going, past Hutto and then you go back up north, they're on 195. Always get those confused because we have a 190 here. So 195, it's right there. And I love Granger because I had someone reach out and said, hey, could you broadcast our kids during the playoffs one year? The Granger Lions. I think they're 2A, maybe 3A now. 2A. So they're still in the 2A. So small town. We talk 2A. You're talking small town. And a gentleman had said, hey, if you go over and talk to this gentleman over at the car shop, he'll help you out. And so I went over to the car shop, and we needed to raise to make this broadcast work with travel equipment, paying everybody. I mean, close to $1,000 isn't cheap to go out and do the games the way that we do them. And so I was like, man, it may be hard to get $1,000 here, in this community. Not judging them, just knowing that it's really small. And so I went over to the car guy and I said, you know what, I'm gonna try to find, maybe 20 people at $50. And I'll tell you what, by the time I left Granger, Texas in 6 hours, we had 21 people that ended up supporting that broadcast. And I went over to the car guy and I said, hey, we're trying to broadcast these children. I almost said kids. We're trying to broadcast these mature children in high school. And I said, it's just $50. And he goes, man, I'll do it. He gave me 4 other people. I went to those 4 other people. Those 4 other people gave me a list of 2 or 3 people. The thing that you mentioned, though, and I never thought this would be, I walked into Granger Bank. Literally just walked into the bank and said, hey, so-and-so said that you guys may be interested in sponsoring this broadcast. And a lady behind there, it was like this old school bank you walked into. I mean, I felt like I was back in the Wild Wild West. With the bars, with the legitimate bars. And I walked in, and she said, give me 1 second, we'll support this. And she went back, and I'm not making fun. This was what I loved about Granger. A bank. Nowadays, in our local bank, like Walker County Federal Credit Union, they'll do stuff all day. I love what they do. But you don't get this from many banks. I walked in. She said, give me a second. I'll be right back. We want to help with this. I don't know who she was, what role she had, but she had the rights, I guess, or the man. I can't even think of the word. The authority. That's the word.
Yeah.
She had the authority to write this check for $50. She goes back and it's on a typewriter. And I was like, yes, I love Granger. So I don't know why I brought that up, but it's just, you think about small towns and hometown feel. And I'm so glad to hear that that's where it started for you in Granger, Texas, with the real estate.
Yes.
How's the market been? We've heard some ups and downs. Are things kind of on the uptrend now in the real estate world?
They've picked up this spring. Back 9 months ago, it was crazy. People were buying real estate for over asking price, real competitive. Then it slowed down because interest rates went up. But things are back, starting to roll again.
So there's one division. It's the HITTSS Solutions Realty division. I always hear people say realty, but it's realty.
Realty.
I've heard people that say, though, they put the I in there. It's like New Braunfels. They say New Braunfels.
Yeah.
And there's no S in it.
Right.
But it's realty, right?
Realty.
Not realty.
Realty.
So we're getting real here with Robert Lindemann this morning.
Realty. The
next one, school business consulting, providing resources to enhance education. Let us know about that. The school, I'm assuming a lot of that came from your knowledge there with ESC and doing those things and getting involved with the school system.
Right. The background from working in the business office at schools, I just offer consulting services to local schools in the area. So don't do so much of that. Right now, I'm using my experience to help out Safe House, doing a little finance and accounting work for them.
Awesome.
Temporarily.
Awesome. Okay. And then the third and final, and I told you I want to save the best for last, is the player development. And this is the one, I know that you're passionate about all that you do. I don't want to mislead people because Robert is very passionate about all 3 facets of his business. But the player development is really helping to instruct the stars to shine.
Yes.
And that's the name. Let us know about the player development. You mentioned earlier about you being a coach, and just tell us a little bit about that journey.
Well, I have a facility out at my house. I have 2 batting cages inside, so weather doesn't bother us. The kids come out. I used to be a stickler on you have to hit this way, but I started just studying the game more, and there's really no particular one way to do it. As long as they're making contact, that's great. That's what we want to work on. We work a lot on the mental side of the game.
Is this specifically baseball and softball?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, we work a lot on the mental side of the game because you could be the best player, but if you have a terrible attitude, it's not going to help you at all. You won't be playing at your peak performance.
Yeah, mindset's everything.
Ex-
No matter what you do.
Right.
If you have a negative mindset and say you can't do it, you'll never do it.
Right.
What has that been like for you, Robert? I know, and it's so cool on the Tuesday group because I hear folks that have children. Man, it's like every time I say that have children, it's working, Kay. Just like Montessori, it took a while. There are so many people that talk in the group about their children coming to you for skills and helping them. What has that been like? Just you've been doing this for several years. Talk a little bit more about that and just the interaction that you get to have with these young people.
It's a shot in the arm for me to see the kids develop. The biggest thing we want to do is build up their confidence. Without confidence, even in life, you're not going to be able to do what you need to do. So I just build them up and tell them that they're going to be superstars someday. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? But why squash a kid's dream? If he wants to play in the MLB or go to college and play, why squash that? I use that as the carrot to get them motivated. Someday you're going to be drafted first round at a high school. What would that be like? And just build them up and encourage them to perform. So confidence is the key.
Confidence is the key. Yeah. And you can see the joy that Robert has. And so maybe there's somebody out there today that says, I want my child to be involved. They play baseball, they play softball, or one or the other, and they want to get better, but they also want to learn life skills. Robert's the guy to do that, and I would highly recommend getting in touch with Robert. You can go online at HITTSS.com to learn more about that.
Yes.
Yeah, and what you're doing is very, very important because kids, they're born. Okay, I said kids.
Come on, Kay. Get in the program.
They're born wanting to learn. It takes an adult usually to squash it out of them. Mm-hmm. And, I tell people all the time, I don't teach the children how to read. They learn how to read on their own. I give them the materials and show them how to do it. But that's the proverbial, you can't make a horse drink. You lead them to water, but you can't make them drink.
Right.
That's the same way with children. And they teach them how to walk. I don't teach them how to talk. I don't teach them how to read. Mm-hmm. Can't teach them baseball. But if they want to learn, and they want to learn a particular skill, you take that and go with it all day long, and the other skills will come because they want to learn.
Yes, you're exactly right. I teach them how to coach themselves. I'll ask them this question, and it's interesting because the parents are there, and I said, do you like being told what to do? Rob, you like being told what to do?
It depends. Not usually, no.
Exactly. We as humans do not like being told what to do. So as a player, when you know that you mess up and you have a coach telling you, hey, you need to do this, or your parents are saying, hey, you need to do this, well, it provides a negative in the brain because they don't want to be told what to do. So if the kids learn to coach themselves, they can correct that before somebody has to tell them, to correct this. I got all excited about it.
That's all right.
So, yes.
I like that too because, nobody, at the end of the day, nobody really does like to be told, hey, go do this and go do this. There's a right way of telling people to go do things, and I've always said that I want to excel, and people that I'm surrounded with, I want to see them do better. But I also, when I think about people's talents, I don't want to put them into a situation to where I neglect their talent. And I kind of I don't ever get into social media debates, but somebody had responded to something I posted a while back, and they say, well, I don't agree with this, Rob. I like to push them to the limit and see how far that they can go. And I like to encourage people, and I do want to push them a little bit and motivate them, but within their boundary. I don't want to push somebody out into an area that they don't necessarily feel comfortable with, but something that they're not passionate about, if that makes sense.
Right.
Let's say that perfect example, you're coaching a kid at baseball, a child at baseball, and all of a sudden the parents are like, well, I want him to play football, but you see so much talent in baseball. Why do you want to move that child into a sport that he's passionate when he's passionate about baseball? You get what I'm saying?
Right.
And so I think the way that you relate to these young people, Robert, resonates so well. And you said something so good a while ago that I wanted to make sure that we highlighted again is you tell these young children, you tell them that, hey, imagine that you're a first-round draft pick. Imagine what that's going to look like in 10 years. I wake up every day and I say a prayer over Bridget and over Braylon and now Caden. And throughout the day, and I heard this, from a church sermon years ago and it stuck with me, is I tell Braylon every single day, at some point during the day, I give her a hug and a kiss, and I say, sweetheart, you are going to be a world changer. And I speak that into her, even at 18 months, when she was 1 month old. I said, you are blessed, you are anointed. And I said, you are going to be a world changer. You're going to do great things. You're going to love the Lord. And I just speak all that over. And I think young people need to hear that these days, right? And that's what you do through your player development side.
Yes, yes. Also, we teach them this mental technique. Think about what you want to happen. Don't think about what you don't want to happen. So when you're at the plate trying to hit the ball, don't think about striking out or making an out. Think about putting the ball in play, because your body follows your brain. Okay? You can relate to this. So your body's going to follow your brain. So whatever you're thinking, that's what's going to happen. And we use a lot of, like you mentioned the word imagination, visualization. You got to play it in your head first before it's going to happen physically.
You know who's the best at that in the game of baseball? Who was just visualizing what's going to happen? Babe Ruth. He just point. I mean, that guy got it down to a science. He's like, the ball's going over there. And what do you do? He'd hit it and it'd go over there.
Right.
Wouldn't that be great if we all had that talent?
There's science to that.
There is.
I mean, he had it down, even back then, of this is what I'm going to do. I'm visualizing it. I'm thinking it through, and there's the follow through.
I'm just going to start pointing. If I want to be like the next voice of the Houston Rockets, I'm just going to go down there to Houston, just point at the Rockets arena.
Well, why do you think when you put that joke out there that people actually thought it was true?
Which one?
That you were coming back and going to be an announcer for the Rockets.
Oh yeah. What was April Fool's?
But why do you think people thought true? Because they could realize you doing that.
Oh,
Exactly. They believe in your ability.
I had to delete, by the way. She's referring to an April Fool's joke that I said, hey, we're excited to be back. And we came back because I accepted a position with the Houston Rockets. By the way, voice of the Rockets guy, I'm not taking your job. Don't worry. You're way better than me. But that's the funny thing was I said that, and you're right. So many people, and I even put on there, I keep scrolling, and I put, just kidding, April Fool's. It's kind of a social experiment to see if people actually read a full post. They obviously didn't, because so many people commented back and said, congratulations, we're so excited for you. I was like, scroll up, it says April Fool's.
Yeah.
Well, Robert, great stuff, man. Just appreciate you so much, and again, your passion. I told you before I'd left, and now we're back, obviously, but before I'd left, I said, man, I envision you one day speaking to groups of people, not just young people, but you have this anointing in your life that I truly believe God has placed over you to lift people and to encourage them. And anytime that I'm around you, I feel I could be having a rough day, and everybody's, everybody has rough days. I just, I always try to be positive and encourage people and lift them up. And when I see you, this joy comes into my heart, knowing I was like, this guy is bringing life to people. And so I just wanted to tell you that, man, because you're making a difference. And I still think a year, 2, 3 years from now, you're going to be speaking to larger groups of people, not just young people. But I truthfully believe that you're the guy that can lift up a lot of business owners here in our community. So I know you don't. I'm just telling you, man, because it's going to happen.
What's already happening today on your broadcast.
Yeah.
So it's good stuff, right? Anything else you want to add, man? It's been a great interview to have you on, and I just wanted to highlight you and your support and all that you do here for people in Huntsville.
Well, just wanted to add this, that when the kids come out for hitting lessons, they also get a little bit of Jesus as well, because I have all my FCA banners hanging up. And I'm going to invite y'all to come out and just check out the facility. You have 2 children.
Yes.
You have grandchildren. Y'all could come out just for a lesson. You don't have to make a long-term commitment, 1 or 2 lessons, and you'll be fine.
Awesome. There you go. It is Robert Lindemann.
You can just take that one with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I thought I had a bat today. It was a horn, though, but that's okay. So
I thought it was a bat, too.
So what's up with the corking the bats? Tell me about this. Is that still a big issue where people cork bats, illegal batting going on in the majors? Do you hear that too much anymore?
Not too much anymore.
It happens.
It happens.
Corking the bat. So when I was a kid, they had this like this whammo bat, and it was this cool like plastic thing that got really big, and when you could, if you missed, you had some really bad problems, because that thing you could not miss.
I could miss.
I missed. I had some problems I missed. I actually went on a city softball tournament. It was actually, I think it was for a rehabilitation clinic. They had put together a softball team, and we called it the Rehab Rebels. That was the name of our team.
That's a pretty good name.
I played 2 games, and I'm a quitter, man. I'll be honest. I was younger. I had to quit because I couldn't even hit the softball. People were laughing at me. I was like, it was terrible. So I should have seen Robert Lindemann. I didn't know Robert at the time. He could have given me some advice on how to hit a softball. So
there you go.
Check him out online. If you've got a young person out there that wants to learn more and get involved, please check Check out Robert and the great work he does online at HITTSS.com. We'll step aside. When we come back, we'll wrap it up. We'll talk more with Kay. I'll talk about the books that came in from the Dolly Parton Imagination Library and much more. Stay with us. We'll wrap it up when we come back here on Good Morning Huntsville.
Okay.
Welcome back at it here on Good Morning Huntsville on a Wednesday. That was the quickest introduction that I've ever done with somebody. Melton wanted to speak to Robert Lindemann. He had messaged me, and our breaks are so quick here on the show that the door had just opened. Robert was leaving, and Melton just pulled up, and I said, "Hey, quick introduction, Melton." And Robert, I said, Robert, Melton wants to speak with you. And it was literally 2 seconds, and there they go. They're out there chatting.
Yeah,
so
sometimes that's all it takes.
that's all it takes. You just plant the seed. Mm-hmm. I heard this morning, poppy seed is so small, right? All the data right now, let's say on Facebook, for example, they have determined, this is just a little nerd fact for you, they have determined now, and it's been going on for almost a decade. It's really expensive. That's why it's not wildly accepted yet. And I think in the next 50 years it will be. They're going to figure out the technology to make this quick. They have figured out how to encode data in DNA. There are 4 chemicals in DNA, and they have figured out a way. And data is really, at the end of the day, it's just zeros and ones. That's all a computer is, on and off, on and off. Won't get into the technical details, but I'll just say that they figured out a way to store data in DNA. When I mentioned, the Bible talks about it just takes mustard seed faith. That's all it is. Just a little tiny mustard seed can change the world. I started thinking when you mentioned that earlier, in a poppy seed, they have basically determined that you could store all the data in Facebook in half of a poppy seed. And 6,000 times over. So think about a half of a poppy seed times 6,000 because of the way DNA works. Mm-hmm. I was listening to this on the way in this morning. They said right now, up until 2025, data is just expanding at an enormous rate. Every second there are hours and hours and hours of content being added to YouTube. Our show right now is being saved on a hard drive somewhere in YouTube. It's being saved somewhere on a hard drive in Facebook. They said, you fast forward to 2025 and the data will continue to expand. With DNA technology, you could store all the data in the entire world in a ping pong ball. Isn't that unbelievable to think about that? And so when you think about just a mustard seed, and I'm trying to figure out a way to tie all this together, but everything in the world that we've ever done electronically can be stored in a ping pong ball in 2025. And just a minute fraction of that is in a mustard seed or in a poppy seed. It's unbelievable to think about how this world is changing. And that's why it's so important that we get up every day and that we make a difference. And you may feel inadequate. And this is where I'm going with this, I guess. This is what's on my heart now. You may feel inadequate this morning. You may say, Rob, I don't have a platform. Everybody has it's not about having a platform. It's just about a one-on-one relationship with people. Jesus came for the one person. He has a relationship with each of us individually. And that's all it takes. You've got that one person in your life this morning that you can make a difference. Or if you're hurting, think of that one person that you can reach out to that's going to help change your life if you're struggling. And that's so important, Kay.
There was, and I'm not going to quote the story very well, but there was, I think, a businessman that was working with a young child, a teenager, and I think he caught him stealing or something. But anyway, he took him under his wing and started mentoring him, and then he ended up being somebody. I can't remember who he was. And then
Rick.
he ended up being the person that led Billy Graham to Christ.
Oh, wow.
And so that businessman that helped that teenager is the person that ended up leading Billy Graham to Christ, and look what Billy Graham did.
Yeah.
So you don't have to
Unbelievable.
necessarily be Billy Graham, but you could be that one person that helps that one person that changes the world.
Yeah, you think about that. And that's so good, Kay. Don't get discouraged this morning if you feel like you're not making a difference. Because if you get out and speak to somebody, you're absolutely making a difference. And I think that is so good, Kay, that you mentioned that. I was believing every part of that story when I was thinking of Rick. I was like, he was robbing people, and he was troublemaker. I thought it was Rick to a T until you mentioned Billy Graham.
I've been working on changing him, but
Some people are just bad to the core.
I'm still missing that $20 bill from when we were kids, Rick. I don't know what you did with it. Rick and I are the same age, by the way.
Were we?
39 and holding.
Well, I hold a lot of things.
So
I'm holding this in right now.
I wanted to mention something, and we have a lot of fun. Again, thanks everybody for joining us. A lot of folks chiming in this morning. We'll get to more of those. Grace Wakefield is chiming in. She's saying good morning. She's also entered to win the contest. Grace, I think, has won a couple of times here. I know she just came by and won some tickets to Vintage Market Days that was last weekend. It was a great show, by the way, and they're going to try to continue that and build up some momentum. We went out there. I left Vintage Market Days, $25 for this like salsa mix. But here's the deal. It was dry. It was like, what do you call it? Dehydrated garlic and all sorts of stuff that was just mixed up. So like spices. It's called a 30-second salsa. And it is unbelievable. You buy diced tomatoes, and I got them like really diced up. And all you do is you take a cup of this, a scoop, and that's why it's $25, because you can make literally 60 bowls of salsa with this stuff. Take a small scoop of this, you pour it in into a 16 or 14 ounce can of salsa, and then you put that and you mix it up. I actually put it in the we have like a little blender thing. Forget what you call those. My memory's getting so
Food
bad.
processor?
Like a kind of like that, like a grinder or something. I put that thing in there, so I minced it up even more. And I put it in the refrigerator for 30 minutes, took it out. I mean, I was like, I'm a rock star, man. I just made the best sauce I've ever had in my life. Then I had an idea to take that and put it into 14 ounces of sour cream and then use the Ruffle chips. I believe in this product so much. In fact, check this out. I've got this guy's card in my pocket this morning. I'm going to call this guy because I think he's looking for sales distributors. And I said, man, what if we could start selling this stuff? It's called Fastest Salsa. I'd love to start selling this on Hello Huntsville, you know? I mean, little side hustle going on here. It's not like we have enough going on. But it's good.
Partner them with the Klein card too.
That's right. Yeah, and it's cool. And he's not here in Huntsville. He's I believe in the Houston area, or maybe he's up in the Dallas area. But it was so cool. I brought that up because it was somebody that had not been to Huntsville in a while, and they come to this event. And that's why I love this community, because there's so many events that go on and so many people get involved.
This is a great place to live. I mean, I'm still a relative newcomer. I've only been here 18 years.
Yeah.
So,
From Oklahoma.
no, not me.
You're not. You
I am
can't.
a native Texan.
Don't insult him like that.
Oh my goodness. Where?
Born and raised in Texas.
Where at? What town?
Amarillo.
Amarillo.
Practically Oklahoma.
Yeah. Well, it's still in the same region, but Kay is true Oklahoma.
Yeah, we've tried, but she still goes back.
Yeah, it's a good place to be. Kay and Rick Boning joining us from Tomorrow's Promise Montessori Schools. They are our Wednesday Foundation 5 sponsor. Love having them on and talking about all the good things happening here in our community. Kay, you got some Wednesday wisdom for us. You were talking earlier about how Tomorrow's Promise had just went through kind of an a threat assessment course. What's your wisdom for us today?
Be aware of your surroundings. There was just an active shooter yesterday at a high school graduation. And we actually had an officer come in, Deputy Horton last night came in to our facility and talked to us about what goes on when that happens. And they're angry, usually young white men between the ages of 18 and 24 is the predominant age. And that Texas is down to rank number 3 for active shooters because of Uvalde. They count the deaths. And before that, we were number 12. But it can happen anywhere. More likely to happen in Walmart or a shopping center than it is a school. But to be aware of your surroundings, and everybody call 911. If you hear something, it's better to call. If you're suspicious about something, call, have them check it out, than to, just brush it off. They'd rather have the phone calls.
You know, this morning, it's a perfect story, and I won't say any names because I don't want to call out any people, but there's a gentleman here that has been through a lot, and Melton had told me about him yesterday, and you're very aware of your surroundings. And I know that this person is not a threat. It's just some horrific things that he had been through over the years that has kind of put him into this place that he is. And he walks by here every morning. He's a great man. But he's battled some things. And Kay, you're so right, because immediately you called me and you said, did you see this gentleman over here? And once I told you the story, you know, if I didn't know his story, I'll be honest, I probably would, just like you, I would have called. You asked me, do you know who this is? And I said, yeah. You know, if I didn't know who that was, I probably, and not trying to single out any person, but I probably would have called the police this morning, because you don't know what's going on. Now, once I told you the story, I know that probably lowered that threat level down, and telling you, yes, I know this man, and he's been through some things, and this is why he's kind of the way that he is. But it's so important to be aware of your surroundings. Kay, you were so aware this morning. You called me right away when I walked in. You're like, hey, do you know anything about what's going on here? Should I call the police? And I told you. And so, again, be aware of your surroundings. Great Wednesday wisdom here from Kay Boning this morning. And appreciate y'all's commitment to security, you know, especially whenever I think of Braylon when we brought her, and we'll be bringing her back again here before too long, and Caden on the way. You know, I thought about, where am I going to take my child and be safe? And we felt completely safe at Tomorrow's Promise. I mean, you guys had secured entry. You had to put in passwords to get in. Everybody was alert. They knew what was going on. That's so important, because you can walk into some facilities like, hey, come on in. Door's wide open.
Well, all of
Not
our,
at Tomorrow's Promise.
Yeah, all of our doors, even the back doors, have coded entries.
Even the office. I had to go by there the other day to drop off some things, and, you know, I couldn't get in, which is good. I had to knock on the office. They were like, who are you? And I told them. Then they opened the door.
And I can't remember what was interloop, or what was the terminology he used. It wasn't hula hoop, but
Ula
loop. That when somebody's going to commit a crime, an active shooter, if you can intervene in their brain thinking somehow, then that gives you an extra second or two to escape. So when they walk up to an establishment and they just walk in, that's not interfering in their brain patterns any. But when they walk up to my establishment and they have to put a code in, and, you know, if they have to break the window out or something like that to get in, then that interferes with that thinking. And so, you know, throwing something at them, you know, if you're in Walmart and you throw some cans at them or whatever, that interrupts their thinking and gives you an extra second or two to get away.
You know, we're talking again with Kay and Rick Boning this morning, and just some Wednesday wisdom from Kay. And Kay, you're so right about what you said about just being aware of those surroundings. Something else that you just said about, you know, hey, throwing something at somebody. I saw a video, and this video was unbelievable. You talk about a fast reaction. There was this, and it was a viral video. This guy was pumping gas. And I think Jason and I talked about it from Guardian Defense. He's with us on Tuesday. This guy was pumping gas, and two people came up to carjack him. Just this van rolls up, and they're about to carjack this guy. And his first reaction was, I'm pumping gas. Guess what? Gas is now my weapon. He starts spraying that gas all over those guys in their van, and they hightailed it out of there.
Yeah.
He interrupted their thinking.
I would have never thought about that. I really wouldn't have. I would have kind of froze. But now, because I've seen that video, and I hope and pray to God I never have to go through that. But guess what, man? Gas is going to be my weapon of choice if I'm pumping gas.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I just hope nobody's smoking near me when I do that, because it's not going to be good. So, good Wednesday wisdom this morning from Kay Boning of Tomorrow's Promise. We're about to wrap up. I know we're going a little bit over here this morning, but I did want to talk about something else. And this came in the mail yesterday. I'm going to show it on the screen there. That is Braylon's first book, and anybody who subscribes to the Dolly Parton Imagination Library, it is made possible thanks to Kay Boning and her efforts through Tomorrow's Promise. That is the first book that you will get regardless of age, The Little Engine That Could. Braylon and I read through half of it last night, and then she was ready to go to bed. So we're going to finish up the other half this morning. Tell us about, there may be somebody today that we've mentioned it before, but somebody today says, you know, what is this Imagination Library? It's free books. You get one a month. Let us know a little bit more about it, Kay.
And I just love that book. I remember that book as a child. And, you know, talk about positive mindset and thinking that you can, and changing your mindset, because that whole story is about that. And it's a great book for every child to have in their library and to continue to read over and over and over again.
Okay, how would they get that book?
I know, I'm getting there. But you can go to the Dolly Parton Imagination Library and register your child. And if they're under the age of 5, they'll start getting free books every month. And Tomorrow's Promise pays for the books to be mailed out.
That's part of the color run and why we have the 5K color run and other events. So whenever you hear of Tomorrow's Promise and what they're doing, these efforts help to support the Dolly Parton Imagination Library. The books are free. The shipping is not. And that's where those funds go to help out. You can find out more information about it. You can register your child online at imaginationlibrary.com. There's a link on there that says check availability, and that's what we did. How long do you get the books for? You said if they're under 5, do they get them up until 5 years old?
You'll get, when she turns 5, you'll get, the last book will be Now You're Ready for Kindergarten. And we're currently sending out over 850 books a month. It costs between $25 and $30 a year to pay for the books for a child. So, if anybody wants to help us, we accept donations. You can go online and pay through the Dolly Parton Imagination Library and just select Walker County. You can also mail us a check. We'll take cash. Anything to help get these books to the children. Because,
we are not picky.
Yeah,
Well, there it is.
That's my passion. Is the children need to learn how to read. That opens up every single door possible.
It does. Well, thank you so much, Kay and Rick, for bringing this program to Huntsville. It's so important. I didn't know about it until we really started diving in and talking, and we signed up right away. There's it even says Jesus loves you on the front. I love that. I saw it on the mailing label. And
that's my other passion.
And it also says, please do not bend the book. Well, guess what? My book was bent. So we love our mail carriers. But, guys, please read the labels, please, if you don't mind. Would really help out. So I had to unbend the book. And that's one thing you can ask Bridget. I'm like a pet peeve about, I want Braylon to take care of her books. Some parents just let their kids tear up books. And I have taught her at a young age that is not okay to tear And yes, she has. She's a child. She will do that.
Well, their coordination isn't quite there. But there's children that will just take and rip a book, and they need to be taught to respect books.
Yeah, don't let them rip up a book. I mean, we have a ton of books, and I love having books. Books were a big part of my life growing up, and I want Braylon to be surrounded by that. Now it's like, if we don't read to her at night, she knows. She starts getting upset. Where's my book? Soon that phrase is coming. Before we go, it's a little history. I failed yesterday because we're so focused on this day of, what is this the national day of? Yesterday was the anniversary of D-Day. On June the 6th, and we totally failed to announce that. My grandfather was second wave D-Day. Only 8 in his company survived.
Wow.
You think about a company has 200 guys in there. He was, what's your percentage at 4% chance you're going to live? And he was one of the 4% that made it out of his company on that terrible day so many years ago in World War II. So first and foremost, I wanted to acknowledge that, all the folks out there that have had family members. We still have a few World War II veterans left, but those are dwindling. It's crazy to think about, here in the next 5-10 years, we're not going to have any more World War II vets. And so always be thankful and mindful of those that have served our country first and foremost. So I tragically failed yesterday, and I apologize for that. I should have known that. And so now we're going to keep an eye on this day in history as well. A couple of things before we sign off. Texas, this is a very good one here. Of course, Juneteenth is coming up, and we all honor that holiday now. Texas passed a bill in 1979, becoming the first state in the nation to make Juneteenth an official state holiday. So that was great by our lawmakers then in 1979. Some other things, the Battle of Midway, World War II, ended in 1942. Also, I'm looking through these because some of these are just whatever. This is a good one. 1962, our good old friends in Switzerland, they welcomed the first drive-through bank. The Switzerland banks. You always hear about people like laundering money over in the Swiss banks. Well, there you go. They got the first.
They've got a drive-through.
Yeah, they were able to do it faster.
Full disclaimer: I do not have any funds in a Swiss bank, by the way. So, how about this one?
Rick just opened your account. There's 10 cents in it.
Yeah, appreciate it. That's going to come back to me on the IRS.
Right to you, buddy.
There's probably some sort of technology that's listening to me right now, and that like a red light just went off at the IRS, like rant, rant, 10 cents in Switzerland, rant, rant. If you watched the show earlier, you know about the grumble. 1966, Ronald Reagan was nominated for governor of California. Pretty awesome story where he was a movie star. And, he broadcast a baseball game one time. He was a sports broadcaster. He was not there. Wasn't at the game. This could possibly be the first ever remote broadcast. He did it by ticker tape.
Really?
And he called the game as it was coming through the tape. And they had the sound effects and everything. And he made it sound just like he was there. He was not.
Amazing.
Ronald Reagan baseball game through ticker tape back in the day. Can you believe that?
I know he was a lifeguard, too.
Yep, was a lifeguard. That's right. This one here, let's go through a little arts and literature. Actress Jean Harlow died in 1937. That was 1 year after Rick was born. There, 1936.
I'm 39 and older.
39 and older. In 1692, an earthquake destroyed a Jamaican town. And there in the American Revolution in 1776. What is the birth year of our country, is it not? 1776. Lee resolution presented to the Continental Congress. And, I've been trying to get an MRI scheduled for 4 or 5 days now. They just called me, and I'm live on the show. And I've called them 4 times, and they never called me back. And I told them, I said, do you want my business or not? I guess they do, because they're finally calling me 4 days later. I won't say the name. It's not here in Huntsville, by the way. Anyways, we won't get it. We'll have another show dedicated to medical things that I'm not happy with. We won't do that one today, though. Also, did want to mention, what is it, the National Day of? Well, it's World Food Safety Day today. So if you're cooking chicken, don't leave it on the counter. We don't need any salmonella making an appearance here. It's also National Chocolate Ice Cream Day.
Oh, I'm in.
Emma, are you in? Emma's like, nope, don't care about chocolate ice cream. National Running Day. I see Rick every morning out running. He's in the run club. It's National VCR Day today. Pull out your old VCRs and throw in some old tape.
I don't think I still have a VCR.
So that's going to be one. Oh, you're going to love this, Kay. You're not going to believe what today is. Dun, 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 dun. I'm just a Okie from Muskogee. Today is National Oklahoma Day.
Oh, and you were speaking so poorly of Oklahoma earlier.
Well, there's nothing wrong with Oklahoma that Texas couldn't fix.
Now, this is National Day calendar where I get this information. They decided that they were going to start some of these holidays, too. I guess because they ran out of stuff, so they just started creating their own. 2017 National Day calendar began celebrating each state in the order they entered the Union. And so today is National Oklahoma Day. It was on June the 7th, recognizing the 46th state to be granted statehood. 46th
1907.
Yeah.
1907. I was just an Okie from Muskogee.
I know that because there used to be centennial signs all over the road.
Kay doesn't like my singing, by the way. I'm probably getting the words wrong on that, am I? I don't know. It's also World Caring Day today, and that'll wrap it up here on the show. So, been a good one. We had a lot of fun today.
We always have fun with you, Rob.
A lot of interaction. Appreciate folks joining us. We'll be back at it bright and early tomorrow morning. Justin Killingsworth will be joining us as our Thursday Foundation 5 sponsor. And we will have a brand new guest coming on this morning as we try to. Tiffany Gobble of Pinch and Plate will be joining us. She has a new business here in town, and she's going to be highlighting kind of her journey to Huntsville and talking a little bit more about her new business. So we're going to highlight some businesses tomorrow.
Great.
And then Friday, we will have some folks from Sam Houston State University talking about the new Bearcat Alley and some traditions at SHSU. SHSU. I am the last one. You know who I miss? Sean Connery. Your children. I'm trying to do a Sean Connery accent here real quick. It's been a while. Let me try to get this one out. Tomorrow's Promise, Montessori Schools. It's a great I can't do it anymore. Man, I used to do it.
You can do much better than I would.
That was terrible. Absolutely terrible.
I can only do one impersonation.
What is that?
Sean Wallace in The Princess Bride.
Can you do it real quick for us?
Inconceivable.
That is inconceivable. I am the last one. That'll wrap it up here. This is the last minute of the show. Thanks for joining us here on Good Morning Huntsville. Again, we'll be back at it bright and early tomorrow. Big thank you to Tomorrow's Promise, Rick and Kay. We love you guys. Appreciate all you do. And remember, get up there, make a difference, Huntsville. We got a lot going on in our community, a lot to celebrate, and we love each and every one of you. So we wrap it up. I want to remind you today that we're not strong enough alone to make it on our own. We need each other, friends. Provide that word of encouragement. Lend a hand of support. Somebody out there needs you. Until next time, good morning, and God bless. We'll see you soon. Have a great day, everyone.